Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Helligans Horror Podcast, a podcast made by horror fans for horror fans. I'm Stony Graves.
I'm Cross.
And I'm the Hammerman.
Love the new nickname, by the way, bro. Tyrannus was kind of trash.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We went off my cringy old rap, man. We ain't gonna go through that though.
Hey, at least we didn't go off mine.
Yeah. No, I like yours. Yours is pretty chill, not gonna lie.
All right. This movie stars Adrian Brody as Clive Nicoli, Delphine Chenack as Young Dren, Sarah Pauly as Elsa Cast, Abigail Chu as older Dren, Brandon McGibbon as Gavin Nicoli, and honestly, those are the really main important people. The rest, in my opinion, are extras, despite there only being like 12 people in this movie.
So the summary is, genetic engineers Clive Nicoli and Elsa Cass hope to achieve fame by successfully splicing together the DNA of different animals to create new hybrid animals for medical use. What is your guys' general thoughts on the movie?
I mean, personally, I'm glad I didn't watch this when it came out, because that would have just been bizarre, especially considering the plot summary.
I watched it came out.
Were you disappointed as well?
I was 9 years old.
Oh, well,
Jeez,
you shouldn't be
dude.
watching that movie when you're 9 years old. I'll tell you
What were your parents thinking?
That it couldn't be that bad until the end.
So they took you to theaters and
No, it came out on demand.
okay, that's still a little bad, but not as just taking your kids to the theater and watching.
We rented it off the Bright House on demand thing.
Bro, I honestly miss those days. I miss Bright House and Fios on demand when you paid $5 for a movie that you had to unplug and replug your cable box in 5 times just to get it to work.
See, I never did that. I was more of a Blockbuster and Direct TV pay-per-view.
I miss Blockbuster.
I'm late night Direct TV pay-per-view for like Tyler going through puberty.
I don't want to know what you get into, bro. Let's talk about horror movies.
Horror movies. Not horror movies. Horror movies.
That was actually solid.
All right, Cross. What are your general thoughts of it?
I mean, I like the general synopsis of it and like the idea of how they were making hybrid animals also and such.
Yeah.
To experiment with medical experiments. I thought the concept was very good. However, if they wanted to make like a scary monster and make a horror movie like they intended, they could have made it a lot scarier.
Yeah, horrendously misadvertised. I personally believe that there's no way it was properly publicized, because one of the things that I personally really like to do when I sort of study for doing this podcast, I like seeing budget and earnings.
Yeah.
This film cost $30 million to make and only made 27.
I mean, that isn't compared to the last movie we watched. That's
completely fair.
Yeah. But still, I remember as a kid, this was constantly being advertised. I know my parents first watched it and they told me to go in my room for obvious reasons. In high school, I watched it and I thought it was pretty cool. Now watching it, I honestly like it better than I did in high school.
I mean, obviously, once you're through your formative years, it's like, hey.
I do wish it was less relationship with the creature and humans, but I did think it was interesting and it didn't ruin the film for me. I did like it. I just wish I could see what the creature could do more. And the special effects for the creature were really cool. I like the special effects for the creature.
Agreed. You could tell that this wasn't practical effects, like, at all. And for 2009, that CGI is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So the movie starts out, we basically watch, I didn't know what to call these things, so I called them synthoids. Yeah. We watched the first male synthoid created. We watched it be born, and they shot him up with a whole thing of dopamine, like a whole syringe. And you have no idea how much money I would pay for a syringe of dopamine. Like, hit me with that side effect. Hit me with that serotonin too, fam. How much? Let's go.
Imagine being coming out right out the womb, and you're instantly just injected with dopamine, bro. That baby would not be crying. It'd be like, yeah, I'm chilling. I'm vibing.
I mean, personally, that's actually a really weird thing for them to inject it with, considering I don't think that dopamine would stabilize. Actually, no, because the heart was flatlining. It would speed up the heart rate, considering dopamine's the reward chemical from, personal achievements or sex. Serotonin is the one that makes you happy. So personally, serotonin over dopamine, but I'd still pay a lot for a syringe of dopamine.
But wouldn't it make more sense the adrenaline work better, or would it be too much for the?
I mean,
creature.
One, it's technically an infant. Two, we have no idea, what the thing even is, or if adrenaline would be a good idea for it.
I'd call them little slime ball that looks slightly like a peanut.
And
That's where to go with it,
yeah, it's a great way to go with it. I mean, and after Fred, or the synthoid's name is Fred, which is one of the funniest names of all time for anything for some reason. Like, at least let it go by Frederick. So after Fred is quote unquote born, because I don't really know how the womb of a synthoid works, and I really don't want to look into that too deep. It's introduced to the other synthoid, Ginger, which the name makes me laugh because it goes back to Splinter, the whole the dead dog thing.
It wasn't even a dog. We couldn't even tell what it was. So this, honestly, the Splinter universe versus Splice kind of makes sense.
It does, to be completely honest.
You guys watched Splinter.
Yeah, bro, you got to watch it. That movie was great.
10 out of 10, recommend. 6 out of 10, watch.
It was just very stupid, bro. It's very dumb.
After Fred and Ginger are introduced and have that really weird bonding and printing scene that didn't make a lot of sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, they didn't printing. Like, I didn't know. It must have some scientific term that I'm just too stupid to understand what imprinting is.
Well, like snakes do it. Like when snakes stick their tongue out to smell things, they're also getting a general view of their surroundings.
And imprinting is how they become familiar with something that is safe to them.
It's
like how a duck can imprint on a person.
It's like the blue shit from Avatar, when they get the thing with the tails.
Yeah.
So after the imprinting scene, Clive and Elsa are trying to basically push this idea that these synthoids can help with, diseases, cancer, cataracts, all sorts of stuff. And while Ginger could only help animals, Fred could hypothetically help human beings. Yeah, for zero reason whatsoever. And Cross and I were talking about it on Constant. Humans playing God is massively frowned upon, which brings me to the point that I actually wrote this quote down because I genuinely really liked it. This wasn't just a note. Clive says, "If God didn't want us to explore his domain, why'd he give us a map?"
I mean, he ain't wrong. I mean, in my mind, I think it's good because we could cure different diseases. But at the same time, why? I don't want to go too into the more spoiler, but why do they put dangerous stuff inside the DNA of the species they are making?
Exactly. What were they expecting?
After all that, the board of Newstead Pharmaceuticals, which is the place they work, wants to shut down the splicing division due to being scared because they want to put human DNA in it.
Foreshadowing, anyway.
Yeah.
One of the things that I put in my notes, solely because the entire character made me angry, Joan Sharon, the head of Newstead, is a big shot, and that's about all that she's mentioned for in the whole movie.
Yeah, I call her the CEO bitch.
Right.
But they end up shutting down that division due to that fear. So that's when Clive and Elsa decide to make their own version of Ginger.
Exactly. And another point that I made in my notes that had me honestly rolling laughing, this was before I pulled up to Kroz's house and started watching the movie. I noticed that Clive said, if we don't use human DNA now, someone else will. And honestly, this whole fucking movie could have been avoided. Literally, the entire plot could have not happened.
Yeah, but they wanted to see if they could do it, and I'm very different on all this because I feel like they did a lot of things wrong, but I admire the effort they were doing it in. My thing is they put like DNA of dangerous animals in these species, and what the heck they expect? If they do it like harmless animal species and add a little human DNA in it, it'd be fine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like not going too far forward. But why the hell did they put neurotoxin in Dren? Why did they think that was a good idea?
To figure out antivenoms.
Agreed. One of my personal gripes with movies, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I personally can't stand it. I absolutely cannot stand montage sequences, like when they were finding out the right gene for what.
Yeah, for Dren.
Yeah, for Dren.
I actually liked the 2009 music montage scene they had a little bit, but that's just me having 2009 nostalgia as well.
It reminded me a lot of the,
I can relate.
remind me a lot of the Matrix, honestly. Like,
Matrix is fucking great.
It is a great fucking movie. It reminded me of that kind of montage. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Am I the only one who hasn't seen The Matrix?
Oh my god,
Yeah.
you are a disappointment. You gotta.
You don't
Don't
got,
watch 2 and 3.
trust me, you don't got to tell me that. I know I'm a disappointment. Yeah, Clyde wants to have a kid and Elsa doesn't, which I'm just gonna say it. That's the darkest subplot that I've ever, seen because eventually I'm not trying to get too far in, but the way that Elsa wanted to have a kid was not biological.
Well, it was artificially biological.
All right. One of the lines that had me kind of rolling laughing for a couple of seconds, like this one hit, when Clive was talking about how electronic music is fascist and has us thinking in circles, so he just fucking puts on jazz and everything works.
Hey, bro, I'm telling you, jazz works every time to keep your brain moving, so I can understand 100% for that process. But after the montage and after Clive tells Elsa she wants a child, Clive then gets a notification that their creation is coming out of the artificial womb. And that's when they go to the lab, and then Elsa sticks her hand inside the womb and it starts grabbing her, stinging her.
Which is where we discover that the toxin exists.
Yes.
Why the fuck would they even make that?
Exactly. Why would you put a defense mechanism into something that was never made to even do anything, as far as I know, other than cure diseases?
It's the stupid fucking plot. And why does she have to stick her hand inside the fucking womb?
Why didn't they just throw the lever and break the glass to get all the water or whatever out in
Yeah.
the first place?
No, she's just literally like, let me stick my hand in here. Surely nothing bad's gonna happen.
That's what I was gonna say at first too. Because I mentioned that
Yeah,
when
you
you're
mentioned
watching the
it.
movie. Like, why didn't they
Just make
just
it more
flip the
tense.
fucking pump first and break the shit? Because
I
that
know.
thing looked like it was a giant fucking living sperm cell at first, flailing its stinger tail around. Actually, no, it looked like one of those necromorphs that are shot out of like pregnant mom necromorphs. You know what I'm talking about? The little ones with like that tendril that comes out of the
Yeah,
back.
the
It goes,
little
that's what it
constant
kind of looks
references
like.
to Alien throughout. Kind of stole half of Alien from Alien. I'm pretty sure I already said this, but in my notes, in all caps for some reason, because that's just the way my brain works, I have why is Adam Driver just a discount Matthew McConaughey written down? Even though it's Adrian Brody. I had the name wrong in my notes, and now I'm reading it, and I'm just like, Stoney, please. Anyway, they go back into the lab to check on the creature. It hadn't been named Dren yet, but we're going to make this easy. They were checking on Dren, and Clive was kind of hopeful, and at the same time, honestly, no, there was no kind of. He was completely hoping this thing was dead. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a movie before, and when you watch a horror movie, you never say you think the thing's dead.
Yeah, because it's not that, especially it's the beginning of the fucking movie.
Also, can we just acknowledge how the man was fully and completely ready to kill his wife to kill Dren?
Wait, was he? Oh yeah, with
Yeah,
the gas. Yeah, the
yeah, with the gas.
No, I think it's because what happened was she had the gas mask on her, and the moment she took it off, he decided not to.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with that. And the whole reason that was because obviously the thing with Elsa and how her hand was like stuck in there and started like stinging her and stuff.
I don't know why it put a defense mechanism on anything that's human, let
Exactly.
alone get anything with human traits, animal characteristics, because then it could just become any sort of deadly.
And this had nothing to do with the movie, but I wrote it down in my notes anyway. Well, semi-relevant, because when they brought up the creation of Dren to the board, or was it Dren or the other ones? Elsa said that there was no predatory genes in these creations. No, it was Dren because there was no human in anything else.
Wait, they brought it to the board because she's supposed to keep Dren a secret.
Well, I don't remember what they were talking about or who they were talking to.
Jen wasn't supposed to have any predatory
Yeah.
traits, so they're wondering where the hell the stinger came from.
Oh, and then Clive said it does have human in it, and that kind of hit me like different
Yeah.
because humans are the most predatory creatures. So I put in my notes, even though it's not really relevant, humans are the predators and are also false gods.
The monster it looked like a mole rat mixed with a kangaroo.
It really did. It looked like a wallaby mole rat.
It looked so cute. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind having that little thing around the house. Besides the stinger, I'll cut off the stinger, obviously, but the creature also ages very fast, we learned.
Yeah, I didn't understand that because the way that would work, we have no idea the pacing of this movie. So throughout this entire movie, in the time it took Dren to be an adult, it could have been what, like 2 weeks, a month. They never explained it. There's never that stupid little edit placement like 1 week later, 2 weeks later. We have no idea what the time frame is. That's one of the things I didn't like about the film personally.
Well, I watched a lot of reviews on the movie, and they kept mentioning it in weeks, so I'm assuming it was a couple weeks.
After they discovered Dren ages quickly, Clive's brother Gavin, basically they visit Gavin in the lab, and Gavin was talking about how the estrogen levels in Ginger were slowly but surely getting lower. And that's just foreshadowing. It's just blatant foreshadowing, and we'll talk about that later. I just don't like it's that was like underhand throwing the ball for them to hit it out of the park, and I don't like when they do that. I like subtle foreshadowing. Yeah, the monster definitely liked sugar, and that was the only way that they could feed it.
Yeah, by putting like little Tic Tacs in their bowls, and that's how they found out about it.
Reminds me of my little brother. His bless him. My family probably shout out to my parents. They probably went through hell raising my little brother because the only things he would eat were butter noodles, pretzels, and candy. That's all my brother would eat. So that was what Dren, as a beginning, character reminded me of.
I'm very lucky with my son. He eats like chicken nuggets and anything I give him, he'll eat. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate with that. Clive was told by his boss, William, if they don't make the hormones for gender, it could be trouble for Newstead.
Yep. Then, to be completely honest, my notes are a little bit like choppy.
Yeah.
But at some point, Elsa all of a sudden really wants a kid for some reason. And after that, Clive's brother discovers the lab and gets his absolute shit rocked by Dren.
By a literal, now Jen looks like a literal toddler, and he's like freaking out over this little toddler, which I wouldn't be too. If you're just chilling here by the fucking doorway and you see like a tail just swinging behind you and just attacking you, I'd probably flip out too.
For a toddler, that thing looked like one of the fucking shooters from Plants vs. Zombies at that point. Clive's brother was the only one making sense for the entire argument scene
Yeah,
about
he's
Dren.
like,
I'm
why
just
the
going to say it.
He's like, why the fuck you guys having this creature around here and stuff? Just like,
Why aren't you telling anyone this could be a breakthrough, but at the same time, it's extremely dangerous, especially considering you're doing this
yeah,
without permission from the lab?
and possibly with a dangerous creature. Like literally, he got attacked by a fucking toddler, pretty much. Clive sees how Elsa's treating Jen like the baby, too, and he's getting a little worried about that.
Yeah, and then he just has a blind fit of berserker rage that made zero sense to me whatsoever.
Oh yeah, you mean the infamous cold bath scene?
The cold bath scene was super disturbing in my opinion because you could tell that the outcome was not what Clive wanted. They basically Dren had a fever and they had no idea what to do, and Clive just straight went Norman Bates on the fucking thing and tried to drown it in the sink.
And that's when they find out it has amphibian lungs and water to survive.
Yeah, they discover it has amphibious lungs, and basically by fucking drowning the thing.
Yeah. And then Elsa asked Clive, how did he know it would work? And he went all quiet. And that's when we knew that
Oh yeah.
he intended to kill her.
Probably
The
thought
next
the
thing-
same thing as an abomination was like, this thing needs to fucking die.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, Clive tried to commit literal murder.
The next scene, she gets noticeably older. I think she's like a teenager now. And that's when things get a little weird because
I would say like maybe a 10-year-old because she definitely didn't have a lot of awareness, but she definitely had quite a bit of it.
yeah,
And that scene honestly both disgusted me and confused me. I obviously wasn't gonna write down anything descriptive in the notes because the scene was weird to me, but I had written down why are they having sex knowing that the creature's awake and is trying to like discover the world.
I don't think they knew she was awake. So what happened was they start kissing. They obviously fucked, and they think Dren's asleep. And as they're having sex, I think they're too distracted to notice. But Dren watches it. I don't know if she's traumatized or she's enjoying it. It was very odd.
I know.
Hold on a
I
minute.
mean, I know exactly what the answer is. We just can't talk about
Yeah,
that until
yeah,
like
yeah.
30 minutes later.
Hold on a minute.
Yo, what's up, Crows?
One, Adrian was drunk, so he knew
Yeah, he did know.
that she wasn't awake.
You see, this is why I love having you on this podcast. Like, you just be chilling, and then you point out shit that nobody caught, and I love it.
It's okay. I forget parts. I mean, I I listed down what I remembered
Yeah,
from like fucking how many years ago?
exactly.
2010,
And I mean,
12 years ago.
it's really cool because like you remember things that I don't, and clearly like Hammer missed as well. Like I completely zoned out to the fact that he knew that the thing was awake.
He was just drunk on whether it was whiskey or scotch. I don't know. Probably looks more like a whiskey because it was lighter.
From my perspective, if/when I have a kid, I'm at least going to wait till it goes to school. But this thing isn't going to school, so how are you guys going to get away with that? You can't rent a hotel with a psychotic creature. They did a presentation on Fred and Ginger.
This was after the sex scene, by the way. Just so
This was after the sex scene, actually.
The
But
first one.
so
Jesus, no, I got it.
My apologies. Spoiler alert.
I know we're all excited to talk about that one part.
No, not that one.
I'm very excited to talk about the presentation. Actually,
Wait, what?
I'm sorry.
you good?
I know you're good. You're good. You know, we're all excited to talk about this one part. The first one. All right.
Yep. And when they do that, things go terribly wrong, and Ginger completely switches gender. Foreshadowing. And just basically they just the two synthoids they create just mutilate the shit out of each other. And
Now listen to this. Like, these people act like you've never seen a cockfight before. It's pretty much the same fucking thing, but with just a balls, penis, slime, balls.
that have neurotoxin in them for no explicable reason.
Yeah, it's just a glorified cockfight. So
To be fair, they were both animals and they were trying to figure out different types of antivenom because you can only find in certain antivenoms that are viable from live specimens.
Exactly. And just like throwing it out there, like we don't really have a perspective of how big those things are, but I don't think they would shed that much blood.
yeah, for all you gotta do is just step on them. And
Like that was an entire fish tank filled with blood that went all over the floor. There's no way that those things could produce that much blood. What's up?
It was an entire small fish tank.
It was a small fish tank.
and they were acting
Because
like it
keep
was
in mind, he was accidentally lifting the borders up when
was-
they were getting in, and they got too late.
Oh no. Actually, that wasn't an accident. Remember, they thought that Ginger was still a female, so they lifted the borders up, trying to see them imprint.
No, they lifted him down, and then Adrian realized something was wrong when
Yeah.
Ginger was acting different, and he was saying, "Lift him up, lift him back up."
Yeah.
And then he lifted them up too late when they were too close to each other.
Okay.
And then they were all killing each other in
Yeah,
that small section.
And after that, for some reason, the little like voice in my head hit that.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Everything went bad very quickly. Was this when they got their funding cut from Newstead?
Yeah, I think it was after. Yeah, the whole reason the CEO was pissed was because they were supposed to keep an eye on those hormone levels. Because remember in the beginning where Gavin was like, "Hey, these hormone levels are jumping. You should check it out." And they didn't really care because they were focused on their other project.
Which, by the way, you could at least try to live a double life. They were not trying. I don't even think they were showing up for work.
Could you even do that though? Like, especially with someone like Dren, who could easily get out and stuff. I can imagine if you need someone to keep 24-hour supervision on them.
Yeah, but how much paid time off do you think these people must have had?
Oh no, that's what I'm wondering. They didn't check like, hey, these people aren't here where they're supposed to be.
Like, what kind of job is this, and are you hiring? Like, let me keep getting paid. Let me keep not showing up. What?
And even after they were still hired, they still had their fucking job.
Right? Like, what is the salary cap, and what is y'all's vacation days?
But the whole reason they needed to put Dren in was because obviously that, and the boss is going to be on their ass this whole time and actually searching around finding. So they needed a better place to hide Dren. And that's when they take her to the barn. Which, first of all, the comment: do you guys notice the Russian hat she was wearing?
Yeah.
Like, were they in Russia? Like, I didn't understand. Like, where was this?
Well, that was weird to me too, because Jones' CEO, Miss Boss Bitch McGee, had a Russian accent. She was the only one who did. It made zero sense to me. So, like, where was the setting?
It said their names like Nikolai, and it could be that because you see how their names are like Russian almost. It's just like Clyde Nikolai and Elsa Cass.
Yeah, but that's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it might have been Russia that took place because of their names and stuff. But we don't know.
Exactly.
Dren runs off the farm property after they take her over there.
They discover that the thing wants meat.
Yeah, you saw that weird ass smile. Like, this is what I mean. This could have been perfect horror movie. That smile is legitimately fucking creepy.
Exactly. That thing was also very, very human teeth for something that was CGI.
Which I get. You can't really devour me like that. Maybe you can. My teeth are just shit, right?
Who directed this movie?
I know it's one of the Del Toro brothers. I don't remember which one who directed it.
I feel it's Guillermo del Toro.
It
That
was
creature wasn't
Guillermo
made
del
from
Toro.
CGI.
Yeah.
It was Guillermo del Toro.
Some of the creature wasn't made from CGI. Guillermo del Toro was well known for not having a lot of his creatures being CGI except a select few, like the giant seed monster from Hellboy. Even Pan from Pan's Labyrinth wasn't CGI.
They find Dren eating the animal, and obviously that causes an entire problem. For some reason, Elsa continues trying to feed Dren, green juice stuff, and Dren doesn't want it.
That part where she throws a fit. I was scared for the cat. I legitimately thought she was gonna kill the cat right there,
Oh yeah, and then she just starts petting it and holding it.
which I thought was wholesome until.
It's super wholesome, and it goes bad later. One of the ways that Dren learned to communicate, because they didn't let the thing talk until the final 5 minutes of the movie, which honestly, in my opinion, very greatly added to the suspense of the movie. We'll get into that later.
Yep.
Dren was using Scrabble pieces to communicate, and that was when it actually named itself, because Elsa was training it with Scrabble, her, technically not it. The creature radiates hella it energy, but Elsa was training her to communicate, and she spelled out her name, and then Dren types out nerd, which had me laughing, and then nerd backwards is Dren. So that's how Elsa essentially named Dren. And later in the movie, where we actually, are, Dren started typing out that things were tedious and boring.
Like her food.
Like
She
her
didn't eat
food, yeah,
like the same
like her
thing over
food.
and over. That's why she started eating.
Exactly.
Tedious.
Yes, and I mean, honestly, completely understood. I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine
I'd
being
say
vegan.
Fucking Tic Tacs every fucking day. God, I would go crazy.
I used to eat a bagel and cream cheese every day for breakfast, and I eat a egg. I literally eat an egg sandwich for breakfast every single day for breakfast because that's what I have to microwave. So I get it. I get it. It's easy. It's tedious, bro. Trust and believe. But before work, that egg sandwich hits. But anyway, so and this is, I'd argue, like week 3 at this point, and Dren's already a teenager because we don't know the time frame, but it just radiated
She's
3
still an
weeks energy.
adult because I hope she's not a teenager.
Well, nah, like I saw it as she was a teenager and then aged into an adult within the next week because like she was trying on makeup, like
Okay.
looking at shit, trying to feel pretty,
Yeah.
probably listening to Pierce the Veil behind the scenes.
She's over here just standing outside the barn listening to Bulls in the Bronx.
Just King for a Day plays in the
Yes.
background, but they don't have the money for that.
Father
Actually,
Ed,
King for a Day wasn't made then.
Pierce the Veil.
Shout out Pierce the Veil. We want you on the podcast.
Yes, please, please, please.
Oh,
Ross over here is moaning thinking about it.
sorry.
After Dren uses the towel, she uses it next to say outside, but when Elsa says no, she pretty much flips out. And
Which is why I thought that this was a teenager at that point. Just
yeah,
pure Sleeping with Sirens, Pierce the Veil, like that energy.
it's not a face, Mom.
It was never a phase. He makes fun of this while listening to Pierce the Veil on the way across his house. Anyway, basically the entire rest of this movie was just Jen trying to get outside and other things happening in the background.
She was about to fly off, and that's when they figure out that she had wings, by the way. She was about to fly off, but then Clive says, "We love you," and she stopped and then hugged Clive. Like, is it really that easy?
Right? Like, is it really that easy? Also, things just got noticeably weirder, which kept bringing forth, evidence to the spoiler that I have to drop so all this makes sense. Elsa put her DNA into Dren and was like complaining over the fact that there were no drawings of her when Dren was drawing stuff. Like Dren was
Kinda
clearly
sad.
falling in love with the creator.
which is kind of sad when we find out later at the very end of the film that
Everything got very sad very quickly.
yeah, Elsa started to flip out because she only drew pictures of Elsa's husband. She finds the cat that Dren has and takes her away, and Elsa's being just a total fucking bitch.
Yeah, which honestly was a really interesting, like, I can't even say plot point, but character development point. Did you notice that the relationships completely switched in this
I don't,
movie?
I don't know if it's less that it could be, but I just think why did Clive all of a sudden just love her so much like that? Like,
Yeah, but like Clive was genuinely hateful, and then
yeah,
Elsa didn't want to admit it, but clearly got genuinely hateful,
yeah.
and Clive became more loving.
I think it was all jealousy, which again, I'm. Anyways, Clive comes home after all that, and he starts dancing with Dren to cheer her up, which this is where it gets very weird.
The dancing scene, all the dancing scenes in everything have me dying laughing because it's always some white guy dancing to like jazz or Stevie Nicks
Yeah.
or like in every form of media, like in Stranger Things when Hopper starts dancing in season 2, it makes me cry laughing every time.
It's wholesome. Come on.
It is, it's
So
great.
wholesome. This scene
Get
is
get
wholesome too.
dude who plays Hopper, please get on the podcast.
Yes, yes, please. I just want a hug from you, man. I just want a dad hug. That's all.
Big facts. But so Clive starts dancing with Dren. Was this the, was, like, to be completely honest, if there wasn't an obvious love interest, I would just say Clive fucks.
Yeah.
Clive definitely fucks.
Meanwhile, Cross
Like-
over here is dying.
Like he's smoking too,
I
so
think he's
but
singing to you.
he's thinking about Clive's dance moves and the blunt hit, and he's just like, oh man. Clive fucks.
All right,
But so was the dancing scene when the weird shit happened, or was that later?
Clive figured because he starts to like Dren, he finds out then that hey, she put her DNA inside Dren because I don't know what gave that away. They didn't explain it.
They didn't explain that at all, and then
I know it gave it away a bit.
What?
There was some foreshadowing.
it was foreshadowing, definitely, and
When they were making Dren
the Jane Doe.
Yeah.
before she was named Dren, yes, they needed
Donors, right?
supposed donor types.
Yo,
And they're like, oh, there's this one random donor.
Dren and apologizes to Dren and gives the cat back to Dren. So, what happens to the cat after she gives back? You can explain that to the poor kitty.
fucking critical hit. Fucking Dren rolled a natural 20.
She did a 360 no scope on the fucking cat, and then literally just she slaps Dren after that, but she literally just pushes over the fucking couch and threatening her with her tail.
Yeah, which is basically absolutely insane for the record. That scene, when I first watched it, that scene got me.
Yeah, I was like, no, not. I was more concerned about the cat than Elsa, if I'm being honest.
Well, obviously, dude, Elsa was just a massive bitch for the last act of this movie.
Me as a cat owner. I think she wanted to show intimidation over
Still, there's
Elsa.
other ways to do
Because
it.
afterwards she shortly
Justice for the cat, by the way. Cat didn't do nothing wrong.
R.I.P. the cat.
no, the cat did nothing wrong. But she was mentioning having psychological issues.
Oh yeah, that's not a
Dude.
spoiler. That's like immediately after, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
due to the animal DNA as well.
The animal DNA also, one of the things that either they did unintentionally or intentionally and was really smart, they didn't think that, oh, the hormonal changes are switching these creations, like affecting these creations hormonal levels.
no,
Why didn't your scientists think?
it's to make the plot. It's so stupid.
They didn't use the human and they weren't thinking, I guess, of what to do with a human like subject that would grow rapidly.
That's completely fair.
But after all this, Dren attempts to go outside, but Elsa knocks her out with the shovel, and then Elsa starts ripping her clothes off and cutting her tail.
Yeah.
and removing her makeup.
Removing the
Because they're
makeup,
saying that they basically
cutting off the
dehumanized her.
tail, you know, somehow removing the neurotoxin glands that weren't even mentioned until that point.
She takes her necklace too that Elsa gave her as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if something tries to kill me, I'm gonna get darker towards it. But what she did was just disgusting.
Well, also, yeah, I agree. She did kill her cat too.
That wasn't her cat.
I thought it was it not?
No, no. Remember when she first found the cat? Elsa says you can't keep it. She found that cat. It was
Oh,
just in the barn.
never mind then. Yeah, that's fucked up. Um,
That was just a stray cat that honestly I believe could have just ran on set for plot. Or not even for plot. Just imagine a cat just runs in on set.
I don't think Elsa completely thought what she was doing when she was doing it. I think it was impulsive behavior as well as logical behavior.
yeah.
Because as she was mentioning, when she was like removing her clothes, she was dehumanizing her.
Oh,
She
definitely.
was removing her clothes, she was removing the makeup, and she was mentioning that the possible DNA from the animals could be having psychological issues.
Fucking
Hence why, you know, human mixed with whatever else, she stabbed the cat and then basically put the stinger to her neck. And then just afterwards, as the stinger was still to her neck, she grabbed the key that she needed to get out, basically saying, I could do to you what I could do to the cat, and then tried getting away. Then Dren was hit in the back of the head with the shovel.
Well, we forgot to mention too the whole relationship with Elsa and her mother that could be also like
which was never explained.
yeah, but that
No.
could also explain how she was treating Dren because she was at the house where
Yeah.
Elsa's mother was, and that could on
And it runs in the family.
yeah.
That mixed with dehumanizing her due to thinking she was acting more like an animal, mixed with impulsive behavior and anger due to the fact that Dren tried to kill her, or she thought,
Yeah.
By the way, I very greatly appreciate the contributions of things that we forgot. Cross is based. Everyone put in the chat, Cross is based.
Spacey.
Based.
After all this, Clive comes in and sees how Elsa is treating Dren and is absolutely horrified. And when Elsa leaves, he pretty much covers Dren up and takes her off the table.
We just acknowledge how fucking weird that is because the roles completely switch from the beginning.
Yeah, because they see it as this creature thing that's part human to
Yeah, but like,
it's starting to look more like my wife.
bro, why does Jen look like the fucking one chick from Doctor Strange one though? Like seriously.
Is this the new Doctor Strange? Because I haven't seen.
Oh no.
The first one.
In Doctor Strange one, the one bald chick that had like no eyes. The social
for real. She does.
Marvel steals from everything confirmed.
And the next scene after all that, Clive is watching Dren in the camera, and this is where things get very, 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 very weird. He watches her swim naked, realizing how messed up it is, and he stops.
Yeah, and then he goes to the barn.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. And after all this, Elsa comes to work and tells her boss that she dropped off the newly synthesized protein, which she got from Dren.
Yeah, which was messed up. Also, that's something you tell your husband. So then Clive doesn't show up to work, which, by the way, at this point, any normal human being would be fired in any workplace situation.
Yeah.
Elsa shows up and talks to her boss, whose name I didn't even write down because one, I didn't like the character, and two, he only shows up in 3 scenes. And Cross has it in the notes, absolutely based.
It was I wrote down his name in the notes that it was William, but I forgot his last name.
All right. Okay, so Elsa goes to her boss William and talks about the new genetics that were synthesized that no she couldn't say were from Dren, and basically didn't think of the repercussions that something had human DNA, which was severely frowned upon for multiple obvious reasons. So while Elsa was at work, Clive, I guess while very stressed, decided to go to the barn and have a few drinks. And then any of y'all want to talk about this next part? I really don't want to talk about it.
I don't mind. My memory's obviously very clear, but And when he goes in the bar, Dren goes and kisses him, and he says, like a good person, "Hey, no, this is wrong." Then it's like, well, fuck it, I might as well make out with it.
Yeah, like he goes, "This is wrong. You can't do that. You can't do that." So she backs up, and then he leans further in and goes, "You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that," and then starts making out with it.
See, my notes for this scene was, "What the fuck movie? No, 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 and the fuck? No, no, no. This
Yeah,
movie is so
my
fucked.
bro,
Oh my god, why? My eyes, my eyes, oh my
bro,
eyes."
bro, literally like same. Like my notes were just like, "Oh, look at that wholesome content." Ayo, what the fuck? No, don't do this. No, this is not how this film was going to go. This is not how I wanted this film to go. This could have been so much better. Oh, there's his wife. They completely skipped the talk. Fuck the birds and the bees.
Oh, you guys want me to talk about the screwing part
Yeah, yeah,
and
the old, good
the
old
okay.
giggly
So
Donald.
basically, they basically start making out. Then Dren takes him against the stairs, wraps her tail around him,
And
and starts making out on the stairs. Then they move to the table and start kissing while he's laying on top of her.
I wanted
Or no, not the table. Sorry, not the table. The floor. They went to the floor. There was
a lot of other shit.
no, 3 instances where they went to the floor. Sorry, they didn't go to the table at all. I was thinking about the table for some reason.
It was a nice table.
I don't think there was a table.
Anyway, continue.
But anyways, is then they go to the floor and he starts pulling down his pants and sticking it in her.
But I just wanted to point out, bro, I wanted a fucking horror movie, not some shit I'd see on DeviantArt.
So during this whole time they're fucking, we see Dren about to pull her stinger out, and then that's when Elsa catches them in an act, and she gives the same reactions to everybody else who just watched this fucked up scene.
Yeah, but like also that hit on a different level because she pulled the stinger out, noticed Elsa, and intentionally stopped so Clive could get caught. Like there's psychological levels to that scene that really got me.
Yeah, I just... After that, Clive goes to talk to Elsa after she runs away, and this is when she just forgives Clive for fucking a fucking artificial lab-made alien creature.
It had your DNA in it, so it was okay.
And you were mistreating her. Like, bro, no, 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 buddy. You literally tried to drown her as a toddler. And during this whole time, this is within weeks. This is weeks.
Yeah.
From a toddler to now. This is fucking creepy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's disturbing and like honestly
You want to mention how he's trying to justify? Oh,
this is where lines get blurred.
he tried justifying the
Like,
creation.
yeah, continue.
He
Cross.
tried justifying screwing her by throwing the creation of her in the first place in her face
Yeah.
using her DNA.
Like,
no.
And then the fact that,
let's
he tried drowning her. They kept her isolated.
Yeah.
She maimed her.
Yeah, let's keep going with this instead of me questioning whether or not this was incest. This is a much better way to go. Come on, let's go.
But Elsa forgives Clyde, which is really fucked up. And they're like, well, this experiment needs the ends. They got what they needed, the protein and everything. And they agreed to go off and kill Dren. And you continue from now on. Anybody?
I mean, I'm just saying. They said the experiment needed to end. Get a gun.
Yeah.
A gun would have ended this movie. This whole third act would have been disturbing and then 3 seconds long.
It's stupid. Like they think she's dead. They go there and
It appears dead, so they bury her. Also, how does the boss know where the barn is, and how does Gavin know where the barn is?
Very important scene. When they bury her, they find that Dren actually drew pictures of Elsa, and that how she acted was not justified at all.
Yeah, which that would have been good to know.
Yeah, but still.
Also, what I found interesting about that scene is you could clearly see that Dren was getting better at drawing, so there had to have been an actual age progression, even though Dren basically looked the same for like the second half of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that's when Gavin Clyde's brother told their boss Williams that they were hiding Dren in the barn.
Everything went to shit.
Yep. And
There's a lot of plot holes in that.
Yeah, but how did Gavin know where the barn was?
There's a plot hole.
yeah. Well, they were talking about it because they I remember Clive were talking to his brother about having to hide it. Maybe they said something off screen, you know.
Yeah, that's basically the entire plot hole.
Yeah.
Just this may have happened behind the scenes. But yeah, so and then Williams starts being, blatant asshole, even though completely logical in my opinion. This thing had human DNA in it, and nobody told him that, despite the fact that he's a genetic scientist. Like, you're literally telling your boss that is obviously I'm not, stretching movie rules because we don't know this, but I would say at very least a doctorate in microbiology, just giving him a new specimen, not telling him what's fully in it.
Yeah.
He's gonna find out.
Yeah.
Bare minimum doctorate, probably PhD, considering he's running Newstead, a you know microbiology company. And they say Dren's dead, and then they find out very quickly that Dren isn't dead.
Yep. What happens is they find out that Dren has actually turned into a boy, and now he's aggressive as fuck.
Based.
And he pretty much picks up Williams and flies away with them, killing him.
And Gavin.
Yep, and Gavin. Poor Gavin. Not really. Fuck Gavin.
Gavin did actually no, I can't say Gavin did nothing wrong. So Dren kills the boss. We don't know where Gavin is, but he's apparently most likely dead.
Clive goes
I'm gonna
after
say
him.
drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clive goes after him, and Elsa's just, hey, you should completely forget your brother. Hey, you should completely forget your brother and come back so we can find Dren.
They find Dren.
I don't think they're
like,
more or less.
can we just discuss how much of a fucking sociopath Elsa became?
I think it all pertains to her being at that barn where her trauma was.
Yeah,
She was thinking logically, but also rationally once again, because she was more concerned about the fact that he's already probably dead, just like William, because grabbed him off last time. William's dead, and then she probably came to the conclusion, Gavin's probably dead too, because Dren flew off with Gavin.
Yeah.
So they were probably thinking, let's go back to the barn, not to find Dren, but to find something that could possibly fucking kill Dren.
Yeah.
then
Clive is dragged underwater by Dren, but he gets back up. And before we continue on this next
but
segment,
hold on. First off, before the trigger warning, there will be a trigger warning.
yeah,
There is no way that Clive would have regained consciousness after being, dragged into freezing water and laid down in the snow.
yeah,
That's
no,
something I have to say.
yeah,
But this next part needs a trigger warning about sexual assault because this next part was absolutely disgusting. And in my opinion, and the opinion of all of Helligan's horror podcast, this should not have been put into the movie.
How long?
And
How long? What you want to talk about? Just do 1
we're
minute.
we're let's breeze over this. This is
Okay,
something I
so
don't want to talk
skip like
about.
so. Elsa was essayed by Dren and got
Her own creation,
impregnated.
impregnated, and in my opinion, that should not have been in the movie.
Yeah,
And uh, I
it's
know it starts with a G. Guillermo del Toro, you should be ashamed for putting that into your movie
it was
because
for shock
you
value.
knew goddamn well in 2009 that was unacceptable.
Yeah,
Evil Dead had a scene like that in the 1980s, and that was unacceptable then. And you're gonna fucking put that in your movie now
yeah.
in 2009. That aged really well, dog.
Before we throw names. Oh no, the director was someone named Vince.
I know Del Toro was involved.
Um,
Let's skip the information. This entire production company shouldn't have fucking done this.
Clive then stabs Dren with a pole, and Dren gets backed up, but Elsa hits his head with a rock and kill him. Well, and then Dren stabs
Yeah,
Clive and killing him, and then Elsa kills Dren.
I
Elsa
think
killed. Didn't Elsa get stabbed too? Because Elsa fell to the ground. Was there a part of that
She
that I
just got,
missed?
like, slapped by the
that,
pit.
but
Okay.
She didn't get
never
hurt,
mind.
She just got slapped.
Then so now that we're past the part that I didn't even want to talk about, but it's part of the movie.
We find,
Yeah, let's talk about the very end.
we find out that Elsa's pregnant, and she signs an agreement to sell off
Never
the
s-
baby.
Yep, and never speak of it to anyone. Yep. So what do you guys rate this movie?
I'd rate it a good 7 out of 10. Enjoyed the relationship between Dren and the two couples. It did get very weird, but it was intriguing. It really was. And if you're coming in expecting a like gory monster flick, I want to watch it. But if you just want to watch a good thriller with good character development, I highly recommend it.
I completely agree. It was intriguing. It was fascinating. It's weird because it was predictable and not predictable at the same time. Um there were obviously some things in it that I don't agree with, the entire last act of the movie just about.
Yeah.
Um Personally, I give it a solid 6.5. It would have been a solid 7, maybe a 7.5 had they not done the ending the way that they did it. What do you think of it, Cross?
I would probably give it about a 5.5.
Okay. Any points about it? Like, did you find anything like creative? Does it evolve horror or thriller in any way to you?
Um, well, the last real horror was the first 10 minutes of this. Well, the last 10 minutes of the movie,
Yeah, which is Jeepers Creepers point.
and maybe the only like thrilling, shocking part to me, really.
The entire ending. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
a good bit of it because I figured something was gonna go wrong if there was still a good bit of the movie left,
yeah.
but I didn't think it would end like that, and I'm not gonna blame any producers or anything, but I definitely blame like the director,
For allowing that.
Keep in mind,
yeah,
Noah did
and
watch this
putting
when
them
he
in
was
the
9.
first place.
Just gonna throw that out there. Noah did watch this when he was 9.
So, all right. So IMDb gives this a 5.8 out of 10, which personally, I mean, I completely agree with. Had it not had that last act, it would have been much higher.
Yeah.
Or if they did it differently.
I have the higher score because I don't mind not always having like the gory creature flicks if the plot is good, and I consider this plot
Yeah,
really decent.
that was a really good plot.
And
It
it
was a
was
So,
decent plot.
like
so
writing notes.
before,
Like there was times where I'm like, I want to put down the mouse and just watch this movie. It was very
oh
hard for
yeah,
me not to do that.
agreed. Like it's funny because normally I have an issue being on my phone watching movies,
Yeah,
but I wanted to absolutely be off my phone and watch this movie.
yeah.
And hmm, you guys got any further points?
No, I don't got any further points.
All right, so one final question, because I had to try not to laugh at this considering how disturbing this movie is. My mother sent me a text asking should she watch this movie.
No.
I should warn her about the scene and see what she thinks. It's not gory. Just make sure she knows about that one scene, and see if she
Well,
wants to.
she listens to the podcast.
Yeah, well,
Not gory, sees ginger and
yeah. There's
bread.
just that one
It's
scene.
yeah, so yeah, my mom wanted to know if she should watch it, and I'm glad you guys gave your opinions. All right, you guys ready to wrap up?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, thank you for watching this episode of the Helligan's Horror Podcast. Normally our schedule will be every Sunday, but I had some schedule complications and it was a little bit difficult for me to record. So this one is going to be,
Monday.
as far as I know, until any other issues occur, it's going to be every Sunday.
Yeah.
But if there is a change, we'll let you know. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. So yeah, everyone like, comment, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it if you could share this with your friends, tell your friends about it, because word of mouth is the best way to spread a podcast. So we'd appreciate it.
All right.
All right,
You guys
thank you. Have a good day. Thank you again for watching and listening.